episode of the Explosive Exclusive, and we've advanced your appointment with us to 1 p.m. this afternoon because we really have an explosive exclusive. Don't tell us that we don't keep up to what we promise you for bringing the explosive investigations, and Rahul Shivshankar and myself are going to take you through in the next 1 hour explosive details on why the Congress party abstains from taking any name of China and in fact has spent the last 10 days training its guns over Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We will take you through all the evidence. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, these are hard facts. These are documents in black and white, and these show you the relationship that exists between the Congress party and China. Well, we'll take you through all of these documents. No wastage of time. We'll come straight to the point. And Rahul, it's very clear. It's very clear after this evidence is put out. I think all the doubts that people have had, all the questions that people have had on why Mr. Rahul Gandhi has over the last 10 days only decided to train his guns at the Prime Minister, and resulting in that also demoralizing the forces of India.
Yes, the papers that we have accessed, Navika, seem to suggest that more than the MOU, it might even have been a pecuniary interest that has perhaps held back the Congress party from actually taking a hard position against China. Now, viewers, what we are going to show you are documents that pertain to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Now, the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation is a very special body in the Congress ecosystem. It is a body that was set up to further the vision of Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi's husband, the late Prime Minister of India, Rahul Gandhi's father, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's father. And this particular body has a lot of interests. It does a lot of different work in different spheres, including preparing briefs and notes because it attaches itself to also policy making, suggestions, and other protocols. So
absolutely, and I want to take you through.
I mean, these are science and technology projects and health projects.
Who are the members of the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation? Rajiv Gandhi Foundation's chairperson is Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. Members include former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, Rahul Gandhi, P. Chidambaram and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. But it is these documents, and look at those members of the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation on your screens right there. Montek Singh Ahluwalia, also one of those members. Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and P. Chidambaram also listed on the website of Rajiv Gandhi Foundation as the board members of the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. But look at the links that we are about to show you now. And we'll go across to our big screen right here and look at the partnerships that Rajiv Gandhi Foundation has. Look at this. This is the annual report of 2005-2006 partner organizations and donors of the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. And look at this here, right here. This is the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, partner organization and donor to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, Embassy of the People's Republic of India. And Rahul, this is not just it. There is the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Contemporary Studies as well. And look at the donors here. Come down from here and right here, Government of the People's Republic of China is a donor for the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Contemporary Studies.
Absolutely.
Donors and partners.
There are others also who are associated with back channel talks between India and Pakistan. They are also donors. But the highlight for our purposes, viewers, is this: the Government of People's Republic of China. You can see, viewers, it's clear it's not on any other head, but it is the partner organizations and donors, the year 2005, 2006. This is open source. You can actually go and look at it. I'm sure these details would have been submitted also to the tax authorities, hopefully.
Absolutely, because donors have to. Every foundation has to give its list of donors for tax purposes and for the purposes of any details and any relief they want under tax. So this is Embassy of the People's Republic of China and donors for the Rajiv Gandhi Institute for Contemporary Studies involves the Government of People's Republic of China. Now this is the annual report for 2005-2006. So the links between the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation and People's Republic of China government and the embassy also donating here clearly shows that the links do exist. This is undeniable fact.
Now, what does the RGICS do, Navika? Why don't you elaborate on that? Because that really is perhaps the telltale, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if you thought that these donations were rather normal, and very many foundations and studies that are conducted have conducted these studies on the basis of the donations that they get. But look at the studies that have been conducted by the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Contemporary Studies. And let's take a look at the next document, which is the study that Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, Rajiv Gandhi Institute for Contemporary Studies did. And Nizam Bhai, if we can go to the next page where we can show, this is the study that's been put out, India-China Free Trade Agreement and a study of the feasibility. This is in 2010. And Rahul, anybody will tell you that a free trade agreement with China would be beneficial for India. Would we even require to do a feasibility study on that, given the geopolitical strategic
Navika, it's mystifying. It's very mystifying because we know the trade imbalance between India and China. And let me tell you, viewers, this is very important to note. India has stayed out of the RCEP. The RCEP was a regional grouping which was again based on signing or giving away a large number of your advantages that you enjoy in trade to benefit whom? China. So Modi government has stayed away, but the RGIC recommends that we actually engage in a free trade agreement, and most of our free trade agreements with many of the world's superpowers, etc., have actually been to our detriment and their advantage. So this is what perhaps a good deal of funding can get you. It gets you a little bit of a push, and it allows you at some level or the other to get favorable views. These would have been expressed to the government would have acted on it. Now this is 2010 that we are talking about.
No, and look at the study and what it says. It says here, the free trade agreement with China, as China is more competitive in global level and has more complementaries in Indian market, having better competitive advantage than India, the trade and economic structure to reduce the gap through proposed FTA can boost bilateral trade, but can also promote mutual investment, cooperation and their living standard. So they are actually recommending that trade deficit will reduce.
Yes.
And can we tell you what actually happened? Between 2004 and 2014, the trade gap, the trade deficit between India and China increased 33 times. 33 times. 33 times is 3,300%.
This is the way it spoons out. If you just look at this, viewers, this is the PhD Research Bureau compiled from TradeMap database. Look at how divergent the lines become. This is how the imbalance is in the India-China trade relationship in US dollars, billion dollars terms. So that's really the issue. Navika, let's just go back very quickly to the main document where we were seeing the listing of the Chinese embassy.
This was not the only study in 2010. There was another study that was done, and this was also something that continues to prove the fact. Let's take a look at the next page, Nizam Bhai, and the next page says this feasibility study was crucial and was carried out by Mohammad Saqib in association with Puran Chand Rao. The main objective of this was to gain a better understanding, in inverted commas, of an FTA between India and China, analyze various trade issues and identify the net gain the net gain. The report concluded that the trade relation between India and China were relatively very strong, but China was efficient. There is a principal need that India should improve its commodity structure to balance in performance and competitiveness. The product diversification was the minimum need for India. So just product diversification, and we could go ahead with
it. And when was this happening? In 2010, after
the MOU was signed.
The MOU was also signed to promote greater understanding. So viewers, at different levels, we have different degrees of cooperation. Now, was this bought out of the Chinese donation? We don't know, viewers, but there is certainly a very cozy arrangement, and this has been proven. If we just go back straight to the donors list of the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, Navika,
that's
here,
right.
this is
the donors list. Partner organizations of the donors. They in 2005, 2006, Embassy of the People's Republic of China, and donors for the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Contemporary Studies is the Government of People Republics of China. Both are donors, and then RGICS, which is the institute, does these studies for a free trade agreement, and this is the conclusion that the free trade agreement was beneficial for India. This is how this whole thing is built. 2005, 2006, 2008. 2008 is the MOU, and 2010 is the study. Very cozy arrangement. Is there a connection between the two? Is there?
Well,
the Congress should come out and explain.
It needs to, and here it is. This is what it does. Has received a grant of US $300,000 from the government of China. Now that's a lot of money, viewers. That's about, at least in those terms, more than or around 20 crores. Would it not be?
Yes.
It would be around 20 crores. My maths is very pathetic, so please do correct me if I've got it wrong.
Even if the dollar was at the rate of about 50 rupees, yes. It was 15 crores.
15 crores. No.
This is 1 year data.
This is 1 year data. Okay.
Yeah, 2007, 2008 is about 15 crores. So 3 lakh.
And what is written here? It was decided that efforts should be made to build a corpus of US dollars 1 million by seeking financial assistance from the government of India and industry. So they were trying to put together a linkage here, make a good amount of money, and therefore I think that number, I'm being told by Hector, is not exactly the amount that I've put it at. 100,000 US dollars multiplied into 50 would be about 50 lakhs, I think. So this would be about 1.5 crores. A crore and a half, and the idea was to build.
Terrible maths.
Yeah, terrible
on both
maths.
sides.
So please, yes. Okay, and that's. And
okay.
there are photos. Let's just go back up to the photos. That's the Chinese embassy with Congress delegates. This is at the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation annual report 2007-2008. We pulled it out. So the arrangement continues. Look, dialogue.
This is the ambassador of China,
this is
right
dialogue
here.
With a diplomat. And there you can see the RGIS is the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation is hosting the Chinese ambassador for this big conversation. So there seems to be a lot of to and fro. Now this is understandable, viewers. No one is saying that, look, you can't have a conversation between a government and a political party. But when it comes to money, then things become a little difficult, because your government was also ruling the country, and there's always a question of the possibility of a quid pro quo. We are not saying a conflict of interest. We are not saying that it might have been, but it points to something.
But look at this: 2005 donor, 2007, 2008 again there is money that is exchanging. 2008 there is an MOU.
Yes.
MOU details nobody in this country
and you've
knows.
got a good established rapport with the Chinese. This is 2007 and 8, so this would have been the
and 2008 August.
Absolutely.
The MOU is signed.
Absolutely.
And then 2010 the studies are conducted.
MOU in November of 2008.
No, August 7th.
Okay, August 7th,
7th,
2008, and it just shows how, there is a great deal of cordiality. Now, I'm not saying
even during Doklam standoff.
There is this cordiality. Rahul Gandhi gets invited. There's secret lunches going on, even when in public he is attacking the government of Mr. Modi for surrendering to China. This is the backstory. Now, we are not leading you to any conclusions. We are only bringing out certain facts. And when money is involved, Navika, it does become.
Questions need to be asked. And the reason we are asking these questions, Rahul, are because the MOU according to our sources, is such a closely held document
Yes.
that even members of the CWC, the highest decision-making body of the Congress party, even members of the CWC haven't seen the MOU. Now, why have they not seen? What is in the MOU? These are questions this country needs to know, simply because there is a link of donorship, there is a link of regular meetings, there is a link of sponsoring India-China studies. You know, why all of this with the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, where the People's Republic of China as a government is putting money into the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, also into the Institute of Contemporary Studies also. All of this raises
What is very
curious
interesting
questions.
is that money was going to be taken from industry. Money is going to be taken from the People's Republic of China to form a corpus to do what? To further the understanding. We had just put that out. If we can go back to that document, to further the understanding between the peoples of India and China. A very noble cause is being espoused, but then you have a document that seems to suggest that we should go for a FTA arrangement with the Chinese, which subsequently we know was actually loaded against us. Now, which government
look at
would
the
have done
graphics.
that?
We can look at the graphics of how the trade gap is widening between
Yes.
the two countries, and it's something today we are ruining, because actually, if we want to punish China economically, we are unable to do so simply because
Yes.
China is part of our supply chains in such a huge manner that disengagement at this level is turning out to be a huge headache
nightmare.
for India.
Absolutely, an absolute nightmare. It will lead to great disruptions in various sectors, not least in the pharmaceutical sector, which is so critical at a time like this when we are all being assaulted by
Electronics
corona.
sector.
Electronics, 70% of our components
And look at this
come
graph.
from
Look
China.
at this graph right here.
Yes.
This is India's imports. This is India's exports. Look at the trade gap that we have with China, and that is proving to be so detrimental for India that we are not able to recover. And with the same country, we are planning to do a free trade agreement, you know, and that is the study that is espousing the cause of a
Yes.
free trade agreement, when trade deficits have gone up 33 times, in a period of about 10 to 12 years.
So viewers, big questions, money coming in. There was also commitment of how much money needed to be collected to better understand each other, both at the party levels, that is the Congress party and the CCP, and intergovernment level, as well as people to people level. So at various levels, just let's look at the timeline once again. Let's go back to the first graphic, which is the real establishing document, Nizam Bhai. We need to go right back
first,
to this.
Just
Yes.
before we go
Yeah.
to that, just
Yeah.
look, up to 2004, we are very close.
Yes.
4.10,
And the volumes are also not
the
so great.
volumes are small. Look at how they begin to grow. 710,
Yes.
715, 924, 1031, and
Yes.
then it just exponentially
Yes.
rises right here. And here we are less than nine, and these imports from China about 60. 60.5 US billion dollars. That's the kind of gap that we've built up. That is in 2016. So till 2014, this is how it really
This is
went.
where the volume started increasing. 2005, 6, the interlocking of the Chinese and the Indian economy began under really the UPA. Remember, the UPA came in 2004, so this is where things start taking off. And of course, now it's unstoppable because these things actually have a momentum of their own, as we know.
Absolutely. And in 2005, I can recall when I did the story, when there were objections coming in from our intelligence agencies, both R&AW and IB, about Chinese telecom companies being allowed to come into the telecom sector. Power sector. There were a lot of objections at this time. I remember covering all of those stories and meetings which were chaired by the cabinet secretary in those days. All objections put aside, and China's allowed to grow.
Absolutely.
Is there a story there? Is this just a coincidence? That's the question we will need to ask.
Absolutely. This is a question that we will now explore. Remember, this is a big story only because it goes beyond the conversation around the MOU. Now we have links, viewers, about donations that have been received from, in fact, the Chinese embassy and the Chinese government to the Congress leading foundation, the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Yes.
That's right. And joining us this afternoon, GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP, Ratan Sharda, R. Rajagopalan, Manasvi Thapar and Ravi Srivastava. But first, let's go across to our reporters who are joining us, standing by on this big story. And let's go straight across to Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan and Megha Prasad. Madhav, you know, what is the Congress's explanation on all of this? Is this just an innocent relationship which normally foundations have with foreign government powers?
Well, Navika, this is the Congress at this point of time has not yet reacted formally on the story, but it is sure to see the two issues differently, though it does appear that there is some kind of give and take as far as the Indian position on China is concerned, as far as trade is concerned, with a massive deficit of about 50 billion US dollars that we are looking at. Although that gap may have been narrowing over the past 2 years, the fact is whether there was an active, attempt at pushing through this free trade agreement between India and China. And secondly, the most important aspect that you also refer to is that time and again there have been warnings about India using certain goods, particularly telecom and other goods, electronic goods particularly, which could in fact be potentially a security threat for India, because any company in China that has its exports outside has to ultimately give its data for national security purposes. This is the most stringent national security act that perhaps exists in any country anywhere in the world, where it just has to be given. They just have to comply with it. There is no two ways about it. In the midst of all of this, why was this attempt being made to push through China and Chinese goods? Was it only because of the kind of donations that had been made from the Chinese embassy? That certainly is a very important question that the Congress party will now have to answer, and particularly the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, which you rightly mentioned over there, will have to answer. We will take this question up to them, and we will certainly try and get a response from them as to what their explanation is for these series of events which raise some very serious questions. Navika.
Megha, can you also tell us, does this really prove, the link the Congress has always been saying that these are diversionary tactics. What's the BJP saying? Have you got any reaction from the BJP just yet on this big explosive story that we are breaking here on Times Now?
So the BJP is bound to react, Navika. Perhaps after we finish putting the story out, you will have a barrage of responses from the BJP, be sure about that. But I can tell you right now, the expose that you've brought to us that there is monetary equation between the Congress party on one hand and the People's Republic of China, even by a donation of 300,000 US dollars. But that's just 1 year's donation. Whatever be the case, at the end of the day, when you have money equation between two sides and money exchanges hands, things actually change. And if you cannot really extract this story from the fact that Congress in all of these days, during this crisis that we are seeing in Galwan Valley, has not spoken a word against China. They have very conveniently stayed away from questioning China. They are repeatedly questioning the Prime Minister, the government's policies, etc., but not a word against China. Can you really put it together today when you brought the expose? I think it's time for us to see all of it in one picture actually, and understand why. Is there a good reason why Congress refrained from taking on China? Is there a good reason why Congress decided on not speaking one word which was adverse to the Chinese interest? Is this the reason? Is money the reason? Because if you have direct equations of money and it's going straight to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, and you did talk about the trade agreements, I mean, these things are in many situations we've seen that the government has seen dubious reasons why think tanks are funded. They're funded with a reason. There are really no.
The questions for the moment, Megha, because we don't know what the quid pro quo is, but the timeline is interesting. And let me get in Samia Kapoor. Samia, you've been covering the Congress for a long time. One question that has actually defied all logic is the MOU of 2008. Now look at the timeline of these events. 2005, 2006 money comes in. 2007, 2008 again there are links that are present between the People's Republic of China's government as well as the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Contemporary Studies. 2008 an MOU is signed, and then 2010, 2011 the same institute recommends an FTA, a free trade agreement. What's the secret of the MOU, and has any senior leader apart from Mr. Anand Sharma, who was present at the signing ceremony of that MOU, has anybody actually seen the MOU between the Congress and the Communist Party of China?
Well, Navika, for the last couple of weeks by now, I have been covering all the Congress press conferences where they are categorically raising questions from the Modi-led government, asking them that why has there not been enough answering on the part of the government. But what about the Congress party then? This is not the first time around the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation has come under the radar. It was also when the Zakir Naik donation was cropped up. Again, the Congress party was compelled to pose a clarification. The Congress party will be asked to do a lot of answering over here as well, because remember when the RCEP was also being introduced, Rahul Gandhi was very vocal about it in November last year. But if we really have to jog our memories back in 2012, it was the UPA government that had gotten into the RCEP agreement with the China and the other countries as well. That does impact our India's trade as well. But as far as the MOU is concerned, there have been press conferences held even today for that matter, but not a single word has been spoken on that front. The question that we are begging to ask the question party, the Congress party over here, is that while they are asking questions from the Modi-led government, the lot of answering needs to be done as to why did the Congress party let into an agreement and arrangements with the Chinese counterparts back in the UPA government's tenure as well. We haven't received any clarity on that front so far. All that the Congress party has been reiterating is that digging into the past and invoking history is only a diversionary tactics on the part of the Modi government. They need to be held answerable as to what is happening on ground today. But can we really look away from what was being done back in the UPA government's time? The kind of details that has been put forth by you as far as the details of the 2005-2006 data is concerned, which shows categorically how Chinese were the donors for the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Why hasn't the Congress party so far come forward and clarified on that front?
Samya, stand by. We have the first reaction coming in. This is Minister of State for Home, Mr. Kishan Reddy, who has reacted to the story already, that we put out about 25 minutes ago. Let's go across and listen in to what MOS Home has had to say about this connection.
फाउंडेशन को 2005-06 में चाइनीज़ एम्बेसी से सर पैसा गया, और वो एक स्टडी के लिए था कि फ्री ट्रेड कैसा हो सर। क्या इस वजह से लगता है कि चाइनीज़ एम्बेसी से पैसा आया राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन को, इसलिए कांग्रेस पार्टी जो है सॉफ्ट रहती है चाइना की तरफ?
वही पैसा लेके जाके माँ बेटे जाके साइन किए थे चाइना में जाकर। कांग्रेस पार्टी का माँ बेटा चाइना के के साथ MOU किया है।
लेकिन सर राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन को भी पैसा मिला, जो कि राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन है उसको भी चाइनीज़ एम्बेसी ने दिल्ली से पैसा दिया गया सर।
राजीव गांधी का फाउंडेशन का नेतृत्व भी सोनिया गांधी करते हैं ना, उसमें कोई सोचने के नहीं है। राजीव गांधी का जो फाउंडेशन है उनका नेतृत्व सोनिया गांधी करते हैं, उनको कुछ पैसे आए। आप जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है वो अग्रीमेंट किया है, पार्टी टू पार्टी कौन सा लेवल पे अग्रीमेंट हुआ, प्रधानमंत्री चाइना के प्रधानमंत्री के समक्ष में हुआ है। ये कैसा हुआ, क्या एग्रीमेंट, उनका एग्रीमेंट में कारण आज कांग्रेस पार्टी चाइना के पक्ष में बात कर रहे क्या
आपको लगता है कि पैसा आया फाउंडेशन से, इसी वजह से पक्ष में बोला जा रहा है?
नहीं, वो नहीं मालूम मुझे नहीं मालूम कितना पैसा है मुझे।
Well, questions definitely being asked out there. Manasvi Thapar, you're smiling. You think there is a cogent connection which can explain this donation that comes from the People's Republic of China government and embassy to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation and their institute?
Navika ji, thank you very much. And you'll have to give me 1 minute to make my point. See, when it comes to the judicial principle, we believe in innocent until proven guilty. But when it comes to Congress, BJP believes guilty until proven innocent. And now coming to the export part, the exports since 2000 till today, till 2018-19, have increased by 45 times, and the export stands, the China export stands of our import is 70 billion, which was around 2.8 billion in 2001. So suddenly, these are the facts from investindia.gov.in. So bilateral relationship, commercial relationship have always been there, but it increased 45 times as of now because of BJP, because BJP believed in investment, and that's very good. And now we want to blame on Congress because they have donation from People's Republic of China in 2005 and 6 and 2006 and 7 also. But Embassy of China is not the only country which has
So this is not about
donation.
trade.
It is Luxembourg
Mr.
also,
Thapar,
it
this is
Ireland
not
also.
about trade. The story is not about trade. The story is
Rahulji,
about the Congress hesitation to
Rahulji,
take on
lots
the
of
Chinese.
countries have donated to Rajiv Gandhi Foundation.
Is this because there are some pecuniary arrangements that need to be explained by the Congress party? We know of an MOU. This slightly goes beyond an MOU, and I think we have with us Majid Memon of the NCP. Mr. Memon, you're a senior leader, of course, and a senior political voice. You're a member of parliament, and I just want to ask you a small question here. What we have learned is that over the years, 2005, 2006, the Chinese embassy has been giving money, in fact, to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. How do you view this?
I think we've lost the line with Majid Memon. Why don't we put that question to Mr. Ravi Srivastava? Mr. Ravi Srivastava, this is not about trade. And if you want to simplify the trade relationship, let me put that graphic on the screen for our viewers and explain even the trade relationship. Look at, Manasvi Thapar talks about 2001 to 2004. First, look at the trade between 2001, 2004, and then we'll see from 2004 to 2014.
I think Mr. Majid Memon is there.
Mr. Majid Memon is back.
Yeah. Mr. Memon, we were just coming back to you and asking you, I think we lost you on the line. It has now come to our notice, and we've got documentary evidence to prove it, that the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government, the Chinese embassy actually funded the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation in 2005 and 2006. Is this the reason why today the Congress Party finds it very difficult to go after China in the manner that it should be?
No, I don't agree with the second part of your proposition that Congress is finding any difficulty in telling China to behave. And as far as the rights of Indian integrity and sovereignty are concerned, I don't think there is any vacillation or any hesitation on Congress' part to find China guilty if China is doing something which needs to be defended by India. That is the second part of what you have said. Now, as far as the earlier part of donation is concerned, well, since you can get some evidence about it, naturally, there has to be some record, and there is bound to be some record. And if that record exists, that certain transaction took place between certain communist people from China and communists in India, or Congress people in India, well, that the propriety of it, the legality of it could always be examined. There is no need to just make noise only because the evidence
Mr. Majid Memon, I want to ask you that in 2008, the Congress Party signs an MOU with the Communist Party of China, and then now coming to light is the monetary donations that have been made by the government of China as well as the Embassy of China in New Delhi, donating to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation and its institute. Do you think the Congress actually needs to now come out, even if it's 12 years or 14 years too late, to come out and put the record straight in public domain on what these relationships were and what this memorandum of understanding was?
Now that you have revealed it, certainly the Congress is going to respond in a matter of few hours from here. That's a different story. But I must tell your viewers one important aspect of this matter. Now, please don't attribute this particular transaction to the aggression by China today. The aggression by China today, the mischief that they are committing today has nothing to do with that 2005 and 2006 episode. Please, they are two different things.
Fair point.
Independent of what is happening today. And now today.
But Mr. Majid Memon, Congress's complete reluctance to name China. They haven't named China. They haven't questioned China's, duplicity all this while. The only thing that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been raising is that China has taken our land, which is really an allegation against the soldiers of this country who are fighting there, are in red alert on the borders, trying to protect India's territory.
I don't think what you say is entirely true, because see, as far as the opposition is concerned, led by Congress, I am emphasizing led by Congress, the opposition, we are also a small opposition party. We are all for the Prime Minister, with the Prime Minister in fighting against China. I don't think Congress is holding the brief for China or asking Prime Minister to go soft with China. If that is the interpretation by you or anybody else, I'm sorry, that is based on erroneous assumptions.
I'm not saying they are asking the Prime Minister to go soft on China. I'm only saying, are they themselves soft on China? Yes, you've taken a position backing the Prime Minister, but the Congress has not. What prevents the Congress party from backing the Prime Minister, strengthening his hand, strengthening the morale of our forces at a time when there is a conflict?
No, ma'am, Congress is not in power. Congress has no voice. Congress can't talk with China. Congress can only raise protest in a democracy where they are in opposition, to only persuade the ruling party and the people in government to be tough against China. Beyond that, Congress can do nothing. Congress can't condemn China or take action against China. What can Congress do? Congress is not in power. So therefore, let us understand the limitations of the people in opposition. All that they can do is to back the ruling party, support the ruling party, which of course Congress, if they are not doing it, they are wanting. We as NCP, we would always stand up with the Prime Minister to fight China to the best of our ability. But therefore, you can't simply say that Congress is not attacking China. Why? How can Congress attack China? Congress has no weapons to attack China.
No, sir. They have words at least. Even words are not being used, sir.
But naturally, they are. I don't think they are disagreeing with what I am saying. They are entirely in agreement with what I am saying.
So then, Mr. Majid Memon, maybe you should take a look at the Twitter timeline of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and you'd probably appreciate the fact that comes out from that Twitter timeline.
No, Rahul Gandhi is exposing falsity in the claim of the Prime Minister, which he would do politically as a political opponent. But I am not giving importance to that at all, because I am not here to find out as to whether Rahul Gandhi's criticism of Narendra Modi is right or wrong. I don't think that is important at this juncture. All of us have to stand up against China. And Rahul Gandhi is finding fault with the claim of the Prime Minister that not an inch was ever transgressed, encroached upon by Chinese, which is proved.
But sir, the Congress party has taken a position where anyone critical of the Congress from within its own ranks will be asked to roll back. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who represents the Congress party in India's Parliament, in the Lok Sabha, in the House of the People, was asked to recant, in fact on a tweet where he took on China. So that is why we are talking about this hesitation. Have you heard Rahul Gandhi come out and say, China, vacate your aggression now? Do it now? You've not, have you?
Gandhi has been saying, Rahul Gandhi has been saying that China has violated our integrity, violated our sovereignty.
Has he asked China to withdraw the aggression point blank? I have not heard him, sir. Maybe if you have, please, please illuminate
China to withdraw. He has no powers.
He's the putative head, sir, of the largest opposition party in this country. After all, sir, when foreign delegations come visiting and heads of state come visiting, they also meet the leaders of the principal opposition party. As a leader of the principal opposition party that committed to itself to have a better understanding on an MOU with China, surely it could use its good offices with the Chinese?
No opposition leader can instruct army, navy or air force to behave or not to behave in a particular manner.
No, I'm not talking about the Indian Army, Navy or Air Force. I'm asking, sir, what stops the opposition, especially the Congress party, from even passing a resolution in the CWC condemning the Chinese aggression? That also has not happened. You may be aware, sir, CWC happened just a few days back.
Stops the Prime Minister from calling all the opposition party leaders and getting a unanimous resolution passed on this.
But he met all of
Would
you.
Please answer that.
He met all of you. NCP,
No, so
Sharad
therefore,
Pawar. Sir, your leader was there. He backed the Prime Minister. Rahul Gandhi didn't.
Sonia Gandhi.
Sonia Gandhi didn't back the Prime Minister. This is a fact, sir. I mean, are we going to now quibble over this? Because Sonia Gandhi came out and asked 7 questions of the Prime Minister. And she said that we had conceded land. When the Prime Minister told your boss, Sharad Pawar, that none of this happened, that India has not conceded even an inch of land. And Sharad Pawar came out and in that meeting also ticked off Sonia Gandhi.
With Rahul Gandhi, who was not an invitee in that also, that the joint meeting of the opposition and the ruling party. Why are you after him? Leave him alone. Why do you give him importance?
Sir, no one is after Rahul Gandhi. He represents the Congress party. We are only saying that the Congress party has behaved
Mr.
in a
Majid
manner...
Memon, do you give Rahul Gandhi importance?
No. I consider Sonia Gandhi, who represented Congress in that meeting. Why do you ignore her? And why do you attribute so much importance to outside what Rahul Gandhi is thinking?
Oh, so you're saying Rahul Gandhi has no relevance?
Debates.
Are you saying Rahul Gandhi's statements have no relevance?
Rahul Gandhi is not the chair. Today it is Sonia who is at the helm of authority in Congress.
Sir,
and
Sonia Gandhi, chaliye, sir, let's talk about Sonia Gandhi. Do you think that this MOU, which would have been signed when she was the head of the NAC, which was the de facto body in control of the government during the UPA, when this money was coming into the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation that she chairs, she's the chairperson of, is that the reason that Sonia Gandhi finds it difficult in an all-party meeting to come out and expressly say, China, vacate your aggression? As an Indian, I am asking you to vacate your aggression.
Navika and Rahul, I would request both of you, have a bit of patience. The reply will come from Congress in a matter of some time.
Well, they've been also taken to court, sir. You're a man of the court, and PIL is being filed against the Congress party for not revealing the terms of the MOU.
And sir, we've been waiting for 12 years to know the contents of that MOU. The Congress has never come out with the details of the MOU signed between the Congress party and the Communist Party of China. You think we should wait for these responses even further?
Let legal proceedings take its own course, and we will have to await if there is any direction issued by court. So the Congress is bound to follow that.
Okay. At the time, let's quickly go across to the BJP's GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament from the Rajya Sabha, also joins us. Mr. Narasimha Rao, your reaction to this big breaking news that we have put out today that suggests that apart from an MOU that was signed between the Congress party and the CCP, which is an intra-party arrangement, money also came from the Chinese embassy into the coffers of the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation to promote various activities. One of them was to push for an FTA, which at least as of now, thank goodness, has not fructified. But that apart, do you believe that that prevents at some level the Congress party from coming out and in a full-throated way taking on the Chinese leadership for betraying India and, of course, targeting our braves?
Rahul, first of all, I think I see this as a very, very big political story of this entire China LAC standoff. I see this as perhaps the biggest story. And there is, so far, we have only been wondering why Congress has been behaving the way it did. But now there is, the motive is clearly evident. And Majid Memon actually condemned Rahul Gandhi during the last 5 minutes of your interaction with him. And on behalf, there seems to, it's not only in the CWC, where members of the CWC questioned Rahul Gandhi. It seems the UPA also is now embarrassed by Rahul Gandhi and his misdeeds. So they need to come out and answer the questions. So far, you see, on Pakistan, you've seen whenever there is a conflict with Pakistan, these people, the Congress supported, they rebuffed even our army because there was a vote bank consideration. So with Pakistan, there was a vote bank appeasement consideration. But in China, one was wondering what is this consideration. Now it seems there is a note bank consideration. There is a cash consideration. And they, like your fringe foundations, which act as advocacy groups on behalf of various of their clients, I think Congress party has itself reduced to a client, having a client relationship with Chinese Congress and took money directly for selling India. I call this sale of India. nothing but sale of India.
So let
by
me get in
Congress
Ravi
party and the
Srivastava.
government.
Ravi Srivastava is getting very, very anxious there. Ravi Srivastava, GVL Narasimha Rao says note bank on the side of China, vote bank on the side of Pakistan. What's going on?
I think he has already counted the cash
his party and the son collected on 19th January in China with the BJP son and the CCP MOU signed over there. They have collected their cash. So I think that he is already happy with that and flush with that money.
So present,
now I want to tell you one
the
more
evidence,
thing.
just like this is on record, present the evidence, we'll be happy to show it up there.
You talk nonsense, when you are hobnobbing with the Chinese Communist Party again. So don't give the lectures to others.
Don't make allegations.
That particular
baseless allegations, we will make you pay for it.
Any foundation, have they not filed their return? You go investigate it. Who has stopped you? Last 6 years you are in power. Had they done something embezzlement, something wrong,
Ratan Sharda ji, if a foundation files returns, is the foundation absolved of being asked any further questions forever and ever? This is a political question. This is not a tax question that we are asking. We are asking a political question about the political connections. Are we asking a tax question? You say the accounts have been submitted. Is this a tax query? Is this a tax query, Ratan Sharda?
See, the way these guys are shouting, I think we should thank Rajmata Sonia for filing the returns of a family concern. See, my heart sinks. My heart sinks and freezes when I read the figures. I am not getting into China, India, fracas of today. Please understand. There you have the government on sale, you have India on sale because they control the government. During that time, when they had enough money, they go to China, they settle for something, they get donations. The lady goes with the son twice in a year and is given red carpet welcome by Hu Jintao, the president of China. Now, remember, today is the anniversary of emergency of 1975. I am one of the sufferers of Indira Gandhi, or victim of emergency, but still, we had huge respect. We always had firm convictions. She would never sell the nation down the drain. She never did it. She stood up for her principles. She was a big, courageous lady. But here you are, claiming to the descendant of the same family. These people are out for petty cash. This is a Hydra-headed monster. They have a controlling Nehru Museum also. They were controlling National Herald also. Say this Nehru family is nothing but money-making machine.
When we have been told, sir,
son-in-law,
that senior leaders of the Congress party like Veerappa Moily, who is a former law minister, has also decided to avoid Times Now, not commenting. We were also being told that apart from Anand Sharma, he was one of those who travelled with the Gandhis to China in 2008 and was there when the MOU was signed. We have to verify that, but that's what I'm being told. He has refused to comment. I want to bring in Mr. Rajagopalan. Mr. Rajagopalan, this is a big story in the sense that it only reinforces the close ties between the CCP and the Congress.
Rahul and Navika, congratulations to you for a big scoop you have brought in. It's going to create a political storm tonight, and I'm sure the government will take note of it. Foreign Contribution Regulation Act should come into act now. High time, as you mentioned, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, why he was asked to take the tweet? Because the beneficiary of the Congress is from China. That is why they don't want to rub China. The 7 questions what Madam Sonia Gandhi put to Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the all-party meeting was flashed in all China newspapers. So therefore, is Congress taking a pro-China stand? And now, the entire world is against China. The entire world is against Corona. But China has got only one supporter in the form of Rahul Gandhi, who is asking every day morning, like face washing. He is also asking one question on a day-to-day on basis on the Twitter. Therefore, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, you are to answer now. Don't hide behind anything. It is not a tax question. It is nothing to do with one. It's a political question. High time, Madam Priyanka Gandhi, who is the controller of Rahul Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, should also come out very clean. High time, the CBC, CBI, DRI are taking note of. Times now break.
You'll get all the returns and everything what the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation put.
Manasvi Thapar.
Legality, Navika may come in.
Yeah, 1 minute. Manasvi Thapar is making a point. I'll come to you, Ratan Sharda, after that. Manasvi.
It is not question of legality.
Yes, Navika ji, these are public documents which you have shown, and it is not the People's Republic of China's embassy which have only given some donation. It is Ireland also, it is Luxembourg also. So these embassies in various nations have donated something.
भाई आयरलैंड का कनेक्शन जब आएगा तो उसका भी पता चल जाएगा. इस वक्त तो चाइना का रिस्पांस दीजिए ना. आयरलैंड से क्यों पैसे लिए थे? We will try and dig into that also.
Navika ji, I stand for transparency, and I also stand for transparency of funding in political parties. Why doesn't the BJP disclose funding?
Well, transparency is very important. Transparency is very important, but why should money come into Rajiv Gandhi Foundation from a foreign country where the foreign country gets huge benefits of trade, number one, and number two, also recommendations through the same organization of a free trade agreement, the organization which is headed by Sonia Gandhi here and Sonia Gandhi as the UPA chairperson in the government as well. Ratan Sharda, conflict of interest, isn't that the basic point? Sonia Gandhi, head of the UPA in the entire period of 2004 to 2014, and then Sonia Gandhi as Rajiv Gandhi Foundation's head, takes all of this money.
The very fact that the trade gap with China was nearly balanced during the time of up to NDA 1, that is 2004, that you suddenly see the gap widening, shows you there are vested interest. And once you open up the gates and floodgates of things, people become trader, everybody goes and makes money, you can't blame them. But this entire floodgates are opened by the same party, same government, some incentives received by them. You cannot have this kind of approach by blindly closing your eyes. You can keep on blaming BJP, you can do whatever, but please answer the question why this party.
Absolutely, and at this point, Rahul, the question that we need to ask is, of course, the conflict situation with China is on its own something that we need to look at very closely. But if such skeletons keep tumbling out of the Congress's cupboard, should we bury them under the carpet?
Look, as far as the BJP is concerned, Navika, they have said that there is some compulsion that holds back the Congress party from coming out and full-throatedly taking on the Chinese. As long as this link between the Congress and the Chinese Communist Party deepens, at least perceptorily, that question remains valid. Absolutely. At least at a political level. So what you're hearing is a natural extension of what the BJP will believe is the Congress softness on China. And the reasons are because at different levels and at different times, the association has been very, very deep.
Absolutely.
That's what you're hearing.
And while Rahul Gandhi has raised many questions over many days on his Twitter timeline, he is also raising political questions. He hasn't engaged on a military level because he says he's not demoralizing the forces. He's asking the Prime Minister a question. Well, now there is a political question that Mr. Rahul Gandhi needs to answer himself. We'll wait for the answers to come out. We'll slip into a short break as we thank our panelists. On the other side, we continue with this big story and new developments that keep coming in. Stay tuned, don't go away.